Hi, for you guys who don't know, secondary productions is a topic often considered a small part of energy flow paradigms. Energy flow diagrams often depict secondary productions as the flow leaving from one trophic levels and being ingested by the next. However, when secondary productions being measured in population levels, it can be way more useful than solely describing the energy flow between trophic levels.
And this is top 5 facts about the article secondary productions, quantitative food webs, and trophic positions. Fact number 1. There are 5 approaches in quantifications of food webs. Applications of secondary productions is in the quantifications of food webs. There are many ways to represent food webs in ecologies. This article shows the relationships between 5 approaches that require increasing amounts of information and efforts. Now you guys may ask why it have to be 5 types of food webs when it just need to be one. The answer is very simple. Not enough information. The simplest can only suggest the complexity between species, but it has shortcomings such as not identifying the relative importance of species and not quantifying their interactions. For example, if the simplest connectivity web is just composed by dots and lines, that proportional webs and assimilation webs need more information about the fractions of each found in the guts, described by the thickness of lines, than for the flow webs or the IP webs, showing more information requiring productions data of each organism represented also by the arrows. Fact number 2. The flow webs, IP webs, and trophic positions are all made with method called taxon-specific estimates of secondary productions. It is the attempt to quantify food webs by measuring various attributes of their interactions. The key features of this approach is combining productions with diets analysis of those same taxa in order to build a detailed flow webs. For example, it will require to know the absolute ingestion flows between specific food resources and its consumer species. How is it determined? It can be estimated from the productions attributable to the food resources divided by gross production efficiencies. After that, you can observe somehow this table, and flow web have now been built in these manners. Fact number 3. Bottom-up linkage with flow webs, top-down linkage with ingestion production webs. The flow webs is probably the most informative of all web considers because it represents actual flows rather than ratios which have set across species and communities. It can be considered to quantify interaction strength from a bottom-up perspective. For the flow webs, once again, the actual amount of foods is taken into account. For example, we can see here many types of thickness. It's called range of flows. The wide range of flows is largely explained by great variation in production among species. If one interprets interaction strength from a top-down perspective, however, this can be accomplished by the IP webs. It summarizes productions of each prey species, ingestion flow to its consumers. Why does it make up top-down perspective? It's because sum of a fractions of prey species to all its predators represents the total fractions of productions, that is ingest, and the total impacts of all predators on these species. Fact number 4. Many scientists found out that only 10% of what they ingest is converted into their own secondary productions. This can be explained by heterotrophs, such as animals, do not assimilate all their foods and have substantial respiratory demands. Fact number 5. Trophic positions show exactly where a species fits into the trophic hierarchy. Trophic positions, rather than trophic levels, shows exactly where species fits into the trophics. Although the trophic levels of the consumers can be determined by following the longest fitting change, trophic positions for that same consumer can be calculated at 1 plus the sum of trophic positions for each food items times the fractions of each food items contributes to the consumer's productions. For example, the trophic positions of this species is 1 plus 2 times 0.9 plus 2.8 times 0.1 is 3.1.
And that's it. That's top 5 facts for the article secondary productions, quantitative food web, and trophic positions. I'm very appreciate and thank you for listening.